Okay, I think we are ready to go. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for the delay. I see there's some people already here in the session. Thank you for being here. My name is Mariette Martinez, and I'm here alongside my strategic partner, Intuit QuickBooks, and just honored to be invited to this Women Leadership Conference. And I want to get started, and I don't want to be rushed, but we're a few minutes in, and I want to make sure that I'm mindful of the 30 minutes we have together. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we do, I'm going to throw in a link inside of the chat. And so that way y'all can get that. Let's see. And these are your handouts for today's session. It's going to be really interesting. This is actually part of a QuickBooks Online certification program that we give over 4 different webinars, and we share this technique and this tool. And so we're going to try to do it over 25-ish minutes. And so, but what's going to be great about it is there's tons of resources and hidden gems inside of these handouts that you can go back and take a look at afterwards. So right now, I just really want to give you the context of this technique to assess your small business owners and be able to pave that way to the right and best solution for QuickBooks for those small business owners. And then we're going to use the new client checklist to go ahead and use it as an advisory tool for you to feel more confident when you're advising your small business owners with the best QuickBooks solution. So let's go ahead and do that. My name is Mariette Martinez, and I am the founder of Master Books. It's a learning center for accounting, bookkeeping, and tax professionals to build their practices from the inside out. I've been doing accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, and technologies, put a bow on all those because now an accountant has to really be proficient in all of those areas for over 20 years. And 7 years ago, I started working towards becoming a public educator, working with partners like Intuit and other organizations that are alongside me in championing small business success. So it's such an honor to be here with all of you. So let's get into the content. So what we want to cover over the next few minutes is the 2 W's. Again, this is really a technique that we teach both in the QuickBooks certification program. I'm one of the QuickBooks certification trainers to become a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor or an Advanced Pro Advisor. I also teach this in my own programs to the accounting, bookkeeping, and tax community that want to step into an advisory role with their small business clients. And so the technique and the concept is really condensed for today, but this is really something that you would lean into in regards to the next assessment you would have with your clients. After we go through this technique, then we're going to cover the importance of aligning the needs, the assessment with the QuickBooks features and functionalities that are best fit for your client's needs. And then we're going to just have a sneak peek of the Intuit's Accountant New Client Checklist, which was designed for the Pro Advisor community over 3 years ago. And really, it's only taught inside of the certification program. But I felt like it was so important to bring this to this advisory group that we have here. And so we have the permission from Intuit QuickBooks and the entire team to bring that to all of you today. So let's go ahead and cover the 2 W's. So when we focus on the W's, we're focusing on this idea of stepping into this needs assessment, into this trusted relationship, into this trusted engagement with a small business owner, where they're going to really share with you their vulnerabilities, share with you their pain points, their challenges, and you're going to sit back and actively listen to what they have to say, so that way you can feel confident that when it comes to the time when you're going to suggest or recommend a guided path on the best accounting solution for their needs, you're going to have a pathway to do that. And so let's start with the first W. And the first W is the who. When I talk about the who, I'm referring to this idea of really assessing that client from an accounting perspective. So I like to call that a business accounting profile. Now, it can be as simple as a 1-pager where you're asking some key areas of how that client, that business owner is functioning when it comes to their accounting, when it comes to their organization, when it comes to their operations. And based on how they respond to those questions around their organization and their infrastructure, you're going to start noting things down. And you're also going to keep in mind that you're really creating this checklist of what solution may be best for them. And so, as it says here clearly, it's the detailed assessment of the tasks, the tools, the techniques, the processes, the workflows that really allow that business owner to be able to manage their finances in real time, be finance ready, be bank ready, be tax ready. And so many times they may not be using those words. And so that's why you have to ask specific questions to get the conversation going. So a few of those questions may be around their business entity, their legal entity type versus their tax entity type, the industry that they're in, if they're in a niche or a sub niche, also specific accounting or tax related tasks or workflows that they need to do based on their industry. Also, how have they been documenting and record keeping? What are their operations every day? I always like to say, if I walk into an industry, I say, let me live a day in your shoes. Explain to me from beginning to end what you do. And many times there's going to be those operational and accounting tasks that they do when they just start talking about their day. Now, when you dive deeper into that who, when you have that conversation with the client or with the business owner in your case, what happens is that you're allowing them to really just take things off their chest, really talk about their challenges, their pain points, their everyday life that they have to go through. And what that ends up all actually doing as well is providing you the what answers. So what is it that you really need? Many times they're not sure, but as you just let them speak and share their day and share their woes, let's say, those what's start coming out. So let's talk a little bit more about the what's, but from the perspective of accounting needs. And so when we're talking about the what with accounting needs, again, remember you were asking possibly those questions around their entity type, their tax type, about their fiscal year end, or are they a calendar year end? How many years have they been in business? Are they a product business? Are they a service business? And so as those conversations coming up, you're really creating these categories of information that you're capturing from them. For instance, basic company information, that's going to be product, service, industry, years in business, legal entity type. Now, based on that, you're going to start thinking about possibly the compliance that's involved and required based on their particular business and their uniqueness of their business. So even if you're not asking them, what kind of taxes do you file? What are your compliance requirements? Based on their answers, that's already a category you're going to keep in mind. In addition, if they start talking to you about their processes and their workflows, we're talking about money in and money out. So when you're talking about money in, possibly you're talking about their sales processes. So then they're going to say, yeah, well, every day, we get up, we open the doors, someone, turns the registers on, someone has to do the closing tape at the end of the day. And so now you're saying, okay, well, in that case, it's probably a retail business because they have the Z tape and they have a point of sale system. And so again, as they are talking just about their day, you're essentially creating these categories of what that particular small business owner needs. And that's why when I mentioned earlier, if you really just let them go through a daily process, they will give you their operational structure and their operational processes all in one quick conversation. They've probably been waiting to have somebody ask them that so they can get it off their chest. And you're, of course, taking notes or whatever way that you can do it to actually capture this information, collect it so you can eventually use a tool that I'll be showing you in a few minutes. Of course, it's also important to know if that business is growing. Are they having do they have a payroll? Do they already have employees on payroll? Do they use contractors? Is there goals to scale a team? Because based on that, of course, their accounting needs are going to change and the solution they're using is going to change as well. And of course, any financial reports or insights they need specifically when it comes to the solution they're going to be using. Also, the industries. And many of these slides, by the way, are really just for you as bonuses to go back and look at it. I'd rather over deliver and give you tons of information to go back and look at afterwards. And so what's super important too from an advisory perspective is knowing that businesses are really sectored into different industries, and when they're in those industries, there's going to be very specific and unique tasks and workflows and apps and processes that they may not even be aware of, but you are, because you know that every industry could be completely separate. And so because of that, there's going to be different setups, different structures, possibly different integrations that you're going to have to do based on their accounting needs. And what else does the small business need? So the business also needs to set themselves up. And so this is a great opportunity for you to also, give them the advice that they probably have been, wanting to be hearing from an advisor in regards to, okay, let's just get you together, regardless of what happened last year, regardless of what you've been doing in the past. If you clean your slate, if you organize yourself, if we create an infrastructure, if we create a hierarchy of files, put you in an accounting system, keep you safe and secure online, have a backup system, provide you an opportunity for you to communicate and collaborate in real time with your partners. Like, imagine how much better your life is going to be. Imagine how much more seamless your processes are going to be. And so, when you maybe bring up just a conversation like that, of course, based on whoever you're speaking to, you may have to change your language a little bit in regards to, the language you use so they can be on the same page with you. But then again, that gives you a deeper on what they really need. Because really the assessment process, which I call the assess for success, is really based on actively listening from an advisory perspective. Us listening to them, but many times we have to throw in those comments because then the real what's come out. And so again, this is just an example of what else does that business owner need. Now, so we went through that assessment again. Forgive me, I did go through that, quite quickly. Obviously, you wouldn't do it that quickly with any business owner. But to make sure I give you the concept behind the next few tools I'm going to mention, now you basically say, okay, so I have a really good idea on what the client needs, what the business owner needs, what the small business needs. Now, I also know there's a software called QuickBooks out there, right? So how do I make sure I align the needs with the QuickBooks version and with the features? Because that's an area that even QuickBooks advisors, QuickBooks experts, QuickBooks Pro advisors that have actually gotten certified in the product still struggle with which QuickBooks is best for the small business owner. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that. I like to call that from listening to leveraging technology. If anyone jumped in after the fact, I just want to make sure you see there in the chat that I went ahead and put the handouts. Those handouts have all of the links that I'm going to share in a few minutes, and basically has this entire presentation for all of you as well. Okay, so the first conversation really is QuickBooks Online a good fit? Yes or no? And so we're going to cover QuickBooks Online, but I will give you a resource for QuickBooks Desktop. But QuickBooks Online is really that one program that I have felt now over 20 years, and definitely over the last decade that I've been serving small business owners only on QuickBooks Online. It's a really good fit for so many small and mid-sized businesses that really want to have that flexibility, that mobility. They are feeling comfortable with working online. They're less resistant to technology. They want to have that, cloud-based secure protection. And they're looking for automations, and they're looking for really that one-stop solution. Because when it comes to QuickBooks, even if QuickBooks can't do it, then you can integrate an app, and you can learn more about that. I'll give you some resources for that, on how you can really create even a more comprehensive or robust software. And, the desktop product or even other accounting softwares out there sometimes struggle in regards to that growth with the business owner. And that's why many times I like to focus on QuickBooks Online when I'm sharing this part in regards to fitting your client. So we're going to just focus on that for today. And so let's say you go through those questions and the answers to all of them are yes. Okay, that's great, right? You can move over and move on with the client. What if the client or the business owner, for that matter, is still a little resistant? Well, the beauty is there's something called a sandbox, the test drive, where you can go into the test drive. It's a full QuickBooks data file online, and you can go in there and start doing the things that the business owner is asking. Well, can it do invoicing? Can it do purchase orders? Can it do sales receipt? Can I get paid electronically online? Can I do time tracking? Can I segregate my business into income streams and be able to see that categorization of the money coming in? Can I do budgeting? Can I do forecasting? And so the beauty of those kind of questions, especially if you are also alongside your client figuring this out, you can open up a test drive, which I have linked right there, and you can go say, well, let's go see. Let's go see if it can do that. You can go right in there and you can test it out. The other importance is, and this is really a bonus slide, we're not going to read through this, is understanding that there really are 5 versions, 5 QuickBooks Online versions, and there's really just 4, and not really, there are only 4 QuickBooks Online versions that are full general ledger accounting solutions. And those are the 4 from Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, and Advanced. The reason why that's super important for you to know is because if you were asking those business entity and tax entity questions in the beginning, if they are nothing other than like a super small Schedule C solo, maybe using having a side business with some 1099 money coming in, if other than that, if they are a formalized, legitimate business owner, they're going to need a general ledger system. They're going to need to have to be able to keep both the accrual and the cash basis. They're going to have a balance sheet and a profit and loss and a cash flow statement. And so the reason why I say that is because the self-employed is only a cash accountability tool. It's a great tool for those contractors on the go that are basically using Excel and essentially, or using, let's say, a pad and a paper to capture their sales and their expenses, and then giving that to their tax preparer. Well, now they have their own solution. But other than that, every other business owner will fit into Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, and Advanced. So that's really important for you to know. So once you know that, then what you do is you start learning more about the features and how it aligns with the business owner's needs. So here's an example. Let's say you did have that subcontractor, they have a full-time job, but they do have some money in and money out. And they don't want to use an Excel anymore, and they want to use a software that's collecting those transactions throughout the year. They can even get paid online, so it has a payment processing inside, and they can easily do their taxes at the end of the year. Self-employed, perfect. You have a business owner that's a solo owner, maybe Schedule C, solopreneur, meaning they don't have any employees. Maybe they're not even using contractors yet. They just started. They only need to use the software themselves, and they want to use it to collaborate with an accountant. Simple Start, perfect. Now you have a business owner that came in last year, but this year now they have 3 people in the company. They just hired an in-house bookkeeper, let's say. They want to capture accounts payable and accounts receivable. They want to do time tracking, and they need at least 2 to 3 users using the software. Essentials, they have to move on to that. And so essentially what you're doing is you're following along the growth of the business. And as you do that, you can suggest that next feature and that next version. Or if the business owner just comes in and says, hey, I need budgeting, forecasting, I need to categorize my income and see my different income streams. I need to be able to capture profitability, and I need to be able to have at least 4 users in there. Well, you're not going to even consider the first 3. They have to go into Plus. And so if they want to use QuickBooks Online. So that's just a really good way for you to strategize those conversations as they start letting you know what they need. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, as you build out the needs of the business owner, as you listen to them and start realizing they need more, then what you can do is you can consider going to apps.com, and you can use the apps.com to really build out the benefit of a system like QuickBooks that really is connected with an entire ecosystem. Ecosystem meaning that you can bring in other measures and other ways for you to build out a system safely by using integrations like apps. Super simple. All you need to do is go to apps.com, and you can search by, let's say you want to look for all the construction apps, the integrations for a construction company, or for health and wellness, or for medical billing. You would just go ahead and either write the word down, or you could search the category, and you'd be able to go ahead and serve them that way. Now, are there tools? Are there tools for what I'm talking about here? Absolutely, there are. And so that's what I'm super excited to share with you now over the next few minutes, which is the Intuit Accountant's new client checklist. Again, y'all will have this handout. You have a whole shared folder where you have the checklist, both in Google Sheets and in Excel. And then you have the handouts here that you can go back and look at it. There's also a YouTube video that I did that's about 12 minutes long, where I go much more in depth in regards to, where this new client checklist came from and how to best use it. So here we're going to go ahead and demonstrate the Intuit Accountant new client checklist. And so this is a checklist that I like to call as the QuickBooks Advisor's Secret Tool, designed for accounting pros by accounting pros. So as I mentioned before, I'm on the QuickBooks Online Certification team. And when we realized and we're listening to our own accounting colleagues that they really needed a guided path, a guided workflow on assessing the client's needs and also providing them the best accounting solution, that's when we created this checklist. And so the way the checklist works is it starts with an accounting profile. Remember, we talked about the accounting profile just a few minutes ago? Well, now that same accounting profile that maybe you wrote down on paper and pen, or maybe you have a one-pager in a PDF, you can put that right inside of the spreadsheet that has tabs from left to right. Once you have that information in, then you move into the needs assessment tab. Now, this is really where the magic is happening. And so this is broken into 8 different categories. And the reason why these categories were so critical to go ahead and set it up as we did in this particular tab, which is the needs assessment tab, was because this is the area that we know that we want to hear from our client. So what are your sales workflows? What are your accounts payables or your expense workflows? Do you have payroll? What does that look like? Do you have industry specific needs? What does that look like? Do you have integrated apps? What does that look like? Tell me what it looks like to have your money in and money out. And so we basically went ahead and we created these categories inside the spreadsheet. But not only did we put the categories inside the spreadsheet on the left-hand side, as you can see here, as the business owner is answering, yes, that's my business, or no, that's not my business, what is happening in the background is the next tab, which is the QuickBooks Solutions tab, is getting automatically populated on the right accounting solution for that business owner. And the other really cool aspect of this particular tab here is on the far right. Every single question that you're asking a business owner, we, the Intuit education team, hunted down a blog, an article, a video, something to refer back to make sure you're understanding why you're asking the client that question, or the business owner that question. For pro advisors, this has been literally a game changer. This is their tool that they can walk into confidently in their next needs assessment. So that way they can already come with the questions and be ready to listen to their clients and put their notes right inside of this spreadsheet. And then, as I mentioned a second ago, as they're entering that needs assessment and entering yes and no, it's automatically populating the answer on the next tab. So you can see there on the left is where the yeses and no would be. And on the right, where you see the color coded columns, what this is saying is this is going to be the best solution for that particular business owner based on where it lies. I'm going to show you an example of that in a moment. So just imagine now, let's take a moment and imagine you got your checklist and you have your assessment and you have that small business owner in front of you and they're just ready to share with you, which is, of course, perfect world, but we all can live in this world for a moment. And so what really is going to happen there is what I call QuickBooks magic, because you have your checklist, you have your assessment questions ready, you have a very excited business owner, enthusiastic to share. And so you're ready to listen and you're ready to go ahead and go deeper with that business owner. So what does that look like? Meet Chris Greer. Master electrician. Look at him. I mean, I couldn't find anyone happier, right? He's excited. First year in business. He's on top of his accounting because he's already estimated he's going to make, over 6 figures this year. He's a sole proprietor, Schedule C. That's really good for tax purposes. He went ahead and filed and organized as a limited liability company for legal purposes. He doesn't have any employees yet, but he does have some contractors he's engaged with. So that's where the conversation started. And we go ahead and complete the business accounting profile, that first tab inside the spreadsheet. From there, we move on to the second tab. we take a break, we take a breather, because we know this is where all the conversation is going to be over the next 20, 30 minutes, depending on how much time you give your business owners. And he shares all of this. When I, work with a business, when I work with it could be a business to business. So he gauges with commercial and residential, but I go in front of my client. This is from Chris. He's saying this, and I like to estimate and give a proposal. From there, I like to be able to turn that into an invoice. I need to capture accounts receivables because I do give my clients terms to pay me. I also have vendors that I have to go ahead and pay, and I have terms with them too, either 10 days or 30 days. So I need to capture accounts payable. I do have a business card and I have a credit card. So I have two forms of payment that I use. So I want to capture that. I want to be able to get paid electronically. I don't want to be hunting down and being a collector. So how do I get paid faster? I want to be able to see the profitability between my commercial clients and my residential clients. I pay my vendors through 1099 that are 1099 reporting. I have compliance to do that. So I want to capture this vendor information in those payments so I can comply with my 1099 requirements at the end of the year. I want to be able to capture the specific costs with those jobs that I do for my clients. So I want to do some job costing. And I want to track my time. So you're like, wow, just imagine if they came in with all that information. That would be pretty amazing. So you're listening to this, and you're like, okay, oh my gosh, I think I know. One thing maybe will be really quickly, how many users need to use this product? Need to go into QuickBooks, and let's say he says 4. Okay. I'm going to end right now, Corinne. We have are we good? I think we're good.
Go ahead.
Okay. And so then basically what happens here is you can see that the best fit for Chris is going to be QuickBooks Plus. It goes ahead and tells you that as you're answering those questions for him. And I don't think we have time for questions, but you all can connect with me on my email or whichever way we connect here on this platform. Again, I didn't want to feel rushed, but I just want to be mindful of the time.
Well, you were rushed, and I apologize. We've all been rushed the entire conference, trying to squeeze a whole day of value into a half a day because of time zones. But thank you, Mariette. I want everyone to know this is just the icebreaker of what is to come with our QuickBooks partnership. I have heard repeatedly from women's business centers that clients lacked the tools. They lacked the expertise to properly show themselves in their accounting world, in these accounting tools and these accounting ways, and that women's business centers often lacked access to the expertise that they needed to teach their clients or match their clients with the right product. So it's not a sales exercise, obviously. It's enabling the clients with the tools that they need to be successful so that when the next capital opportunity presents itself, they can present their business in the most effective way. So anyway, this is the beginning of much to come. We're super excited to get Mariette, who is the QuickBooks Pro Advisor. I'll call her the queen.
Thank you.
And also her first opportunity to get to know us a little bit. So thank you all. We're going to jump out of here. We've got some great announcements coming. And part of which, Mariette, I'm going to be talking about what's coming with QuickBooks.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you all. It was such an honor to be here.
Thanks.
Bye.